So, part two. The question was, if you had a magic wand, what would you do with homelessness, right? And my answer was, let me see, I probably should have looked at this before. Okay, I'm in the right place. So, and I put down a bunch of words. Before I go into what my magic wand would be as a person with lived experience in the community, if I had a magic wand to cure homelessness immediately, what would I do with it, right? But these are the words I got from the entire session, which is real-time solutions. Think like a business, stack funding if you're a nonprofit or a for-profit. Integration, transition, movement, rebirth, growth, change of narrative, excited, meaningful, restored hope, leadership across the board is what I wrote down. Also, what else? Data turns into funding. People with lived experience is very rarely measured. Grace and mercy. Repurpose yourself and retool. Lean into each other. Breathe new life into each other. That's a whole message. That's what our session was talking about. But back to my magic wand. I said magic wand, people with lived experience, community innovation. I've actually thought of this very much so often. It's a vision. April and Bill both got into my answer in many ways when they were already speaking. So I'm a person of flow. When things like that happen, I know that they flow the way the Lord wanted them to. In every aspect, it just flows beautifully. So all in on housing first. Invisible people. We saw their documentary yesterday about how Finland went all in with the housing first model, and we actually have a conference about it, I think tomorrow if I'm not mistaken. But we saw yesterday at the plenary, I really literally was ready to cry when, and I think I was not the only one who touched our soul, that they were talking about this and that they actually made strides on taking the people off the streets in Finland by removing barriers and making solutions happen, right? And knowing it's way more than housing first. First off, they went all in, eliminating all barriers, like I just said, prevention, being really plugged into peer prevention and retention. We know on the ground and pulse what's going on with humans, period. We're able to communicate a different way because of empathy, grace, and mercy, compassion, because we know what it feels like, literally. Access is the name of my magic wand. As a lived experience expert unicorn, I've been using that term lately since I heard it at Scale Up. That the gentleman that was hello Mark, he is a unicorn. He said he was a unicorn herder, and I love that term. So I always love to give credit to people that's their terms that they found out, because I have terms that I came up with that I want my credit that housing is literally healthcare. All tenants would be protected, no harm, right to counsel, just like you see in criminal courts across the state. We partner with all 35 council persons, open access to new data with each sector collected to monitor codes. It's causing homelessness by codes not listening to tenants about uninhabitable conditions. And again, this is my magic wand. We would be partnered with all 35 council people without any blockages. Oversight provided by the
security advisory. Please maintain possession of your bags at all times.
I'm gonna wait on the airport announcement.
Suspicious activity or unattended items by calling 911 remaining phone.
Oversight will be provided by the tenants. I've been hearing that echoed all throughout the National Alliance to End Homelessness Conference of 2024. All from people with lived experience. We're like screaming out to do the work. And what we hear in return is how hard it is to get the funding to us when even if that particular funding is there, the CAB meeting we had, the first CAB meeting that was with the street vendors newspaper, the tenants were talking about how they want to further their entrepreneurial dreams beyond being a street vendor, but they want to use the model of the street vendor paper. So how do we collaborate to make that particular thing happen? Because it already has good bones, right? Why reinvent the wheel? I don't get that part, but let's peers navigate peers to home. Exactly what I was just saying. Ownership without vouchers. A curriculum will be included. We want access to technical assistance to sign up for Section 3. What is it? Disadvantaged business enterprises as well to create our own jobs. Right now, those programs are like hidden. It's another program, community choice, demonstration or not development, but demonstration where you can move into a safe neighborhood that is like a more so it would be out of a person's price range that has a voucher basically. But to have safe homes, better schools for the kids, and again, like I was talking about the BART that made me miss my plane, instead of arguing with us and telling us we don't qualify for the services, get us in those programs without barriers. It's for a study, and nobody really, I've heard of one person that's been able to access it. And the rest is a mystery, right? So, innovative housing, reimagined and inclusive. Imagine with zero barriers. Everything that I'm talking about, I kind of go into, and it reiterates by what I already had wrote down, right? Workforce development, so we can be our own communities and our own everything. We don't want to bother people. Let us thrive just like the tourism thrives in Nashville, Tennessee at the core. And then it's other counties that are experiencing the same as well. A lot of people have reached out to us about no-knock evictions, and they can't plug into homeless services, so that's not fair at all to not be able to plug into services. I call being able to be our own community with workforce development eco-communities, because then the communities are able to thrive because they have access to the resources to build on their own as families. The first CAB collaborative meeting, February 28, 2024, was so beautiful. I heard all the intelligence as usual in the unhoused community. We're hidden jewels. One idea they came up with was a book club to be able to produce a community anthology on CAB members. Each one of us there asked when and where. Other ideas were blurted out that were so phenomenal. We simply must be fully empowered, absent of barriers to permanent homes for all humans, safe, decent, sanitary, affordable, no trauma involved, good tenant relationships, rent or owning. That's my dream. It's a lot. It's a whole lot more to it. Let's say that. But I love being inclusive of all humans and community. So the vision duplicates across the globe, because when each one teaches one, each one reaches one. And guess what happens at the end of the day? When you teach a man how to fish, they will never hunger again a day in their life, because they know how to, as a family, do their own thing, and as they should, on purpose, literally. Same thing I've been talking about. So my wand would rid all barriers to permanent homes, just like Finland did. That's my dream. Beyond housing first. Let's go all in. We got the team to do it. With the CAB, I'm on a board with a provider that has the units to do exactly what Finland is doing. 200 units of single room occupancy. We just need the funding pushed into it, and it's not to be a conflict of interest at all, and we have witnessed some conflicts of interest. Putting all that aside, can we have access unrestricted? I heard someone else say that in a session, the young lady was like, she went to their health department and was like, we know you have money, give us 50,000 without restrictions to get started up, just so we can show you what we can do. That's a good demand, and it ain't asking for much compared to what the city actually has. I'd love with my magic wand not to be ignored, especially speaking on the crisis here. It has gone federal. Unfortunately, we tried to go chain of command, but hey, when a city is committed or anyone is committed to not listening to you, what do? You have to keep climbing that chain of command until you get real answers, and it should be all in anyway. So that's a little bit extra than what would have been on the panel because it was timed, and you gotta stick straight to the point, be laser focused. But everywhere we go, we're gonna be talking about this, and we go to Washington at the end of the month as well, and that'll be a day on the hill. So we're preparing for that right now, for the end of the month to go to that. So, and we'll be doing some stuff I'm not gonna say because people try to block you when you got some stuff coming up. So you'll see what we're doing next. Policy advocacy, that's my lane, but not fully my lane. That's our partner, Miss April Burns Norris of Community Bridges Incorporated, who got to come to this conference as well. And man, we were so overwhelmed in the best way with knowledge. When you hear overwhelmed, you think of it being like something happened bad. No, we were a good overwhelmed. That's what I told them my description was for the conference. I was overwhelmed in the best way possible. With all the knowledge, and I think that was everyone's experience. They thought it was a big family reunion. We ended up getting with some folks. They were all from North Carolina. We neighbors. We ready to connect. So yeah, let's go.